Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, former President Rodrigo Duterte now in ICC custody in the Netherlands. Senator Dela Rosa says he felt betrayed by President Bongbong Marcos for cooperating with the ICC. In a world first, an Australian man is discharged from the hospital with an artificial heart. And a look at the trailer for the live-action remake of Lilo Stitch. Thanks for joining us. Former President Rodrigo Duterte now in the custody of the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Duterte arrived at the Scheveningen prison facility Wednesday, where he will be detained while facing murder charges over his bloody war on drugs. He was immediately assessed by ICC personnel in coordination with his personal nurse. Pro-Duterte supporters gathered outside the prison holding banners, chanting Duterte's name and waving Philippine flags. In a video before his arrival, Duterte acknowledged the long legal battle ahead of him.
Okay ako, donatory. And I think this is something to do with the law and order noon. At sinasabi ko naman sa mga pulis at military na trabaho kayo at ako ang managot. So ito na nga. For all of the whatever happened in the past, ako na yung nag-front sa ating law enforcement pati military. Sinabi ko na I will protect you and ako ang managot sa lahat. This will be a long legal proceedings. But I say to you, I will continue to serve my country, and so be it. Kung ganun ang destiny ko. Salamat.
Here's a look at the detention unit where Duterte will be held. The facility is where several infamous war crime suspects are being held. Other inmates include militia leaders from Sudan, Mali, and the Central African Republic. Because it's technically a detention unit and not a prison, detainees have access to more facilities than they would after a possible conviction. Among privileges are conjugal visits, unmonitored communications with the legal team, and visits by a minister or a spiritual advisor. Suspects also have access to a gym, a library, and a kitchen where they can prepare their own meals. When people come together, the rule of law can prevail. That assertion from ICC Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan following the arrest of former President Duterte. He says this is an important moment for victims of the drug war.
And I think it's important to show that the office has been working with communities, with states, with international organizations, with other partners to make sure that the investigation could be focused and could move as effectively as possible. And the fact that it's been executed is important to victims. It means a lot, I think, to victims. That's the feedback we've already received. And many say that international law is not as strong as we want, and I agree with that. But as I also repeatedly emphasize, international law is not as weak as some may think. It's important to underline as we now start a new stage of proceedings that Mr. Duterte is presumed innocent. He will make his initial appearance before the court soon. And the focus of the office is on the judicial proceedings, on proving its case before the judges of the International Criminal Court.
The Families of drug war victims cry foul over the Duterte family's claim that they are being harassed following the arrest of their patriarch. More from Paulo Barcelon.
After nearly a decade, Melinda Lafuente's late son Angelo is finally laid to rest. Angelo was one of many people killed in cold blood during the start of the war on drugs campaign of the Duterte administration in 2016.
Botas Police mismo talagang humuli sa kanila na sabi na pag hindi sila nakakota ng 40 tao, hindi sila makakakota. Wala silang, yun daw ang kota sa kanila, 40 katao na mapapatay nila. May nagbulong na bangkay nyo na lang makikita yung bat. Hinahanap nyo. Sabi ko, bakit? Baboy ba yun para patayin? Tarap-tap na pinakita sa akin yung anak ko. Halos hindi ko makilala yung mukha ng anak ko eh. Durog-durog yung mukha na puro paso ang katawan na nakatali. Tapos yung ibang kasama niya nakaluwa ang mata.
Angelo's remains are one of the 19 brought to an interment ceremony at the La Loma Catholic Cemetery in Caloocan Wednesday night. Families believe this is a good way to move forward, but the trauma remains. They were offended to hear former President Duterte's family crying out harassment to the former president.
They have to check what's inside their mind and perhaps look into the definition of what humane, as it was spoken aloud by the wife, by Hanilet. They have to check what it truly means to be abused. They have to check what it means to be a victim. Just as what we did in the beginning, we're there for every step of the way. And those who needed sanctuaries were also provided with some. I just pray that people would realize finally, walang idinulot na kabutihan at kagandahan ang tokhang.
Forensic experts like Dr. Raquel Fortun are saying the drug war's impact has opened new partnerships between government and experts on how to improve the country's forensic system. Fortun was one of the pathologists who helped examine EJK victims.
We have a meeting tomorrow. Meron na pong technical working group organized by Executive Secretary Bersamin. We are trying to develop forensic science finally in the Philippines.
But for people like Melinda, who fought for 10 years to see the day architects of extrajudicial killings would be brought to court, the wait continues if it means getting justice for Angelo and for everyone who were killed in the war on drugs.
Huwag niya nang itanggi na hindi siya ang pumatay at hindi siya ang nagpapatay at hindi siya ang nag-utos. Aminin niya lang yun na siya na akuin niya lahat. Pero kung ano yung ginawa sana sa pamilya namin, sana gano'n din lang mangyari sa kanya. Na walang laban at buhay yung iniwan niya mga bata, mga anak ko na pinatay niya lalo ni anak ko.
Paulo Barcelon, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The detained former president is currently running for Davao City Mayor. The poll body says he is still considered a candidate unless he withdraws from the race. Josh Malimban joins us on the line for the details. Josh, what will happen if Duterte wins the contest and how exactly will the election process work in this situation?
Yes, according to Comelec Chairman George Garcia, the legalities surrounding Duterte's situation are still in the gray area. Garcia clarified that he does not want to be speculative and said that in the existing electoral process of the Comelec, Duterte will continue to be proclaimed if he wins the elections in May. One question in mind here, Mai, is once proclaimed, how will Duterte perform his duties if by this time he is still detained in The Hague? Garcia said that if this was a usual case, Duterte may perform his duties despite being detained until a final conviction is reached. In this case, Garcia said that they are still not sure as to how this would go, since there's the issue of territorial jurisdiction. A temporary vacancy will commence if the proclaimed official cannot assume position or perform his duties and responsibilities. The second in command, or in this case, the vice mayor, will assume the acting mayor position upon the declaration of the Department of Interior and Local Government. Meanwhile, Garcia gave his assurance that these legal conundrums will be resolved in a due time. Bye.
George, ICC Assistant Counsel Cristina Conti has revealed that a warrant may also be issued against Senator Bato Dela Rosa, who is running for re-election. Now, how will the COMELEC handle this?
According to Garcia, COMELEC loses its jurisdiction to disqualification cases of national candidates, which are the senators, members of the House of Representatives, and party list groups once they are proclaimed. In this case, the Senate Electoral Tribunal will decide on the issue of Senator Dela Rosa if ever an arrest warrant will also be issued by the ICC, which may prompt a disqualification case before Election Day. Although, just to clarify, Mai, the decision of the Senate Electoral Tribunal will only tackle pending disqualification cases from the COMELEC after the proclamation of a candidate. Different legal technicalities will apply if a conviction is issued after Bato has been proclaimed. Mai.
All right, thank you for that report. Joash Malimban. Speaking of Senator Dela Rosa, the former PNP chief finally speaks out after Duterte's arrest. He says he felt betrayed that President Bongbong Marcos supposedly walked back on a promise to not cooperate with the ICC. Hanati reports.
As former President Rodrigo Duterte's former PNP chief, he led the war on drugs. But while the former president was taken into custody and flown to The Hague, Senator Bato Dela Rosa was missing in action. Speaking to the Senate media yesterday, he finally breaks his silence.
Feeling betrayed, betrayal to the max. Mas excited pa or mas interesado pa yung Philippine government na mahuli si President Duterte kaysa ICC at saka sa sabi nilang Interpol. Ang nakikita ko mas excited pa sila na huliin talaga si Paulong Duterte.
He recalls a conversation with President Bongbong Marcos when the latter gave his assurance that there won't be any cooperation with the ICC.
Huwag ka mag-alala, hindi ko mag-cooperate sa ICC. Dahil after ninyo, who's next? Baka kami na naman. Yan ang sabi niya sa akin.
He calls it a very flimsy excuse that Interpol obligations forced the arrest.
Isipin mo, hindi mo lang nila binigyan ng respeto yung ating mga courts, no? So, supposedly, kung talagang rinuli nila, dapat i-present mo lang sa courts bago nila dalhin doon sa ibang lugar, sa ibang bansa.
But where was he during Duterte's arrest? Dela Rosa says he's currently campaigning.
Hindi ako nagtatagot.
Nasa Davao kayo, sir?
Bundok ng Surigao at Agusan.
Hindi nga, sir.
Nagkampanya ako sa mga bundok ng Surigao at Agusan.
Before the interview, the Senate media found one of his offices closed. According to his media chief, his staff are doing campaign-related activities because of the session break. He also did not attend the PDP Laban event in Hong Kong, where Duterte was last seen publicly.
Hindi man kami magkasama sa Hong Kong, di ba? Naiwan ako dito. All I did was akong pinas nila mag-asikaso sa legal.
Dela Rosa filed a petition at the Supreme Court seeking to stop Duterte's arrest, but was denied a temporary restraining order. When asked if he was in hiding, he says he was just laying low. For now, he says he will continue his normal life.
I will live a normal life. I will lead a normal life unless warrant is being served.
Sir?
If warrant is being served, is to be served, then I'm ready.
He even said he could easily hide if he wanted to.
I can run, and I can use some connections to hide.
If all else fails and a warrant is issued against him, Dela Rosa says he's ready to join Duterte in the detention center.
All legal remedies are exhausted and still justice is to no avail, then what can I do? I can join the old man.
But he's also seeking protection from the Senate president. He wants the Senate to delay his possible surrender even if an ICC warrant is issued.
Hindi niya muna ko i-surrender hanggat sa kaya niya habang hindi pa kami adjourn. Pwede naman niyang gawin yan.
He hopes the executive branch will respect this if the Senate President grants his request.
Hanggat kaya nga niya, hanggat kaya ng Senate President na kupkupin niya muna ako, hindi niya muna ko surrender kung may warrant of arrest na.
Senate President Cheese Escudero has not responded to Dela Rosa's request. But in his latest statement regarding Duterte's arrest, Escudero said the ICC must follow due process. He said debate and disagreement are normal in a democratic country and described Duterte's arrest as peaceful and orderly. Hannah T., Bilyonaryo News Channel.
An update now on Pope Francis, who's been battling double pneumonia. The Vatican says he remains stable, with a recent chest scan confirming improvements observed in previous days. But there's no time frame yet for his discharge from hospital. Francis has not been seen in public since entering Rome's Gemelli Hospital on February 14. He celebrates the 12th anniversary of his papacy today. Over to Australia, where a man becomes the first person in the world to be discharged from hospital with an artificial heart. The 40-year-old patient underwent 6 hours of delicate surgery. The artificial heart was invented by an Australian scientist and is designed as a bridge to keep patients alive until a donor heart transplant is possible. 5 other people have received the artificial organ, but they remain in hospital.
He had the device for 104 days before his transplant, so 3.5 months, and he was discharged from hospital along that way. And so that was, a world first for us. I mean, ultimately, that's what our goal is, to return these patients back to a normal quality of life. And he did return to a normal quality of life outside of the hospital. So, this gives us an incredible hope that in the future, we won't need to bring him back in for a transplant, that they can just stay out, keep the device, for the rest of their life.
Scientists in London, meanwhile, are using AI to detect previously invisible brain abnormalities that cause epilepsy. The tool spots around 2/3 of the tiny abnormalities that human radiologists often miss when studying a patient's MRI scan. The system makes an analysis which can then be checked by a radiologist, speeding up a diagnosis and access to surgery. While it is not yet clinically available, the team has made the software open source and is training clinicians and researchers worldwide on its use. In Switzerland, doctors are expanding the range of prescriptions they give patients with mental health conditions. Under a pilot project, patients will be advised to take strolls in public gardens as well as art and history exhibits. 500 prescriptions will be handed out for free visits to 4 sites, including 3 museums and the city's botanical garden. Aside from using art as therapy, the initiative also aims to promote physical activity. We're taking a break. Up ahead, Barbie maker Mattel releases a doll inspired by the Philippine mythical creature Manananggal. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns. You're back on Newsfeed at noon. Senatorial candidates allied with the Duterte family surging in the latest Pulse Asia survey. Former President Duterte's closest aide, re-electionist Senator Bongo, now taking the top spot from ACT-CIS party list representative Erwin Tulfo. Duterte's police chief, re-electionist Senator Bato Dela Rosa, also jumping from outside the so-called Magic 12. He now ranks 4th to 7th. The survey was conducted from February 20 to 26, several days after Vice President Sara Duterte was impeached by the House of Representatives on February 5. President Bongbong Marcos leads the inauguration of a grains terminal and trading project in Batangas. Our senior reporter Pierre Pastor is there and she joins us now live for details. Pierre, go ahead.
Yeah, yes, Mai. I'm here in Batangas City because President Bongbong Marcos was here earlier to inaugurate the SIDC grains terminal and trading facility here in Sorosoro, Batangas City. The main ingredient of the feed for hogs, Mai, is a milled yellow corn. So in this more than 4,000 square meter facility, yellow corn is processed and stored very well. The terminal boasts of its cutting-edge technology designed to optimize efficiency and quality control, equipped with 2 massive silos, each capable of holding 6,000 tons of yellow corn. This is a project of the Sorosoro Baba Development Cooperative, or SIDC, claims to be one of the most successful cooperatives in the country. This is also made possible through the support of the World Bank, Department of Agriculture, Philippine Rural Bank Development Bank Project, and the Batangas local government. The SIDC will source yellow corn from agri areas like Mindoro, Capiz, Bukidnon, Sultan Kudarat, South and North Cotabato, giving great opportunities for farmers in these areas. And at the same time, this will ensure a steady supply in yellow corn, which will increase productivity in livestock and poultry farms. In line with the administration's target to boost the agricultural sector, President Bongbong Marcos is very supportive of these kinds of projects. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Pierre Pastor, reporting to us live from Batangas. In sports now, WNBA champion Sabrina Ionesco is in awe of the support she got from her fans during her visit to the Philippines. The New York Liberty sharpshooter was in town for 3 days as part of an Asian tour. On the Bilyonaryo News Channel's The Scorecard, she says she's honored to be an inspiration for basketball fans, especially in places like the Philippines. After Manila, she will visit Guangzhou, China, and Hong Kong.
Our goal when you're kind of a part of a league that is still knocking at the door of being able to get the recognition, the support, the investment that you deserve, you really kind of focus on where you're playing, which is the United States. But I think what's really important is being able to tap into different countries and understanding how important that love from the fans that you get from everywhere and inspiring kids from all around the world to want to play and kind of being able to have those role models is really important. So obviously for me it's a blessing even to be here on the streets and see how many people have my jersey and are wearing like gear from when I was at Oregon to New York to USA jerseys. So it's been really kind of an honor to see that love all the way here in Manila.
De La Salle Lady Spikers win their first round showdown against the Ateneo Blue Eagles in UAAP Season 87. The Lady Spikers escaped the Blue Eagles in 4 sets Wednesday at the Mall of Asia Arena. Angel Canino led the Taft-based squad with 20 points. La Salle is third on the team standings, while Ateneo is at number 7. In the first game, defending champs, the NU Lady Bulldogs swept the Adamson Lady Falcons. The reigning queens remain undefeated and on top at 6-0. Adamson slides to 5th place. Former President Duterte's arrest last Tuesday sparked extreme reactions from his supporters, and hosts Vong Navarro and Kim Chu were not spared from criticisms. The two were accused of alluding to Duterte when they used the popular term deserve during their noontime show. Vong took to X to clarify that he was only following a script, a photo of which he posted with the tweet. Kim likewise says she simply read her spiels. She also calls for kindness and good vibes. Now, Barbie toy maker Mattel pays tribute to Filipino folklore with its new doll. Its name, Corazon Marikit, which is inspired by the mythical creature Manananggal. The doll wears embroidered bat wings, traditional Filipino garb, and accessories, and can actually be split into 2. Corazon Marikit is available on Mattel's website and is priced at $75 or around 4,200 pesos. Experiment 626 is back to cause mayhem. Disney has finally released the trailer for the live-action reimagining of the 2002 animated classic like Lilo and Stitch. This new take stars a newcomer and includes many of the iconic scenes from the original film. Let's watch this.
We have apprehended a dangerous experiment. Where is he?
He escaped.
He's trying to find the police cruisers.
He took the red one. What hideous planet is caught in your crosshairs?
Shooting star! I wish for a friend. Like a best friend.
What the hell?
He's so cute and fluffy.
He is your responsibility. Got it.
We promise.
Yeah.
Down from there.
Look like an angel.
No. Control him. Hey, what are you doing? No. Dog's on the table.
You sure that's a dog?
Yeah.
Rough.
Ew. We are not keeping this thing.
Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind.
Or forgotten.
Stitch bad.
Sometimes family isn't perfect. That doesn't mean they aren't good. That was close. I don't think you're supposed to drink that.
Agent Cobra Bubbles, we have a blue dog to catch.
No, wait.
No. I'm gonna give you to the count of 3, Stitch. 1.
That was 20 plus years ago. I can't believe we call it a classic now. And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Good afternoon.